Hi, Stephen from SteadyMaker here. In our last video we looked at using the modes with your stabilizer. Now we are going to look at setting up the handlebars and using your wired remote with the stabilizer. This is when you want to use the extra support of the handles, or you want to use your stabilizer in inverted mode. Inverted mode basically means upside down, where the handle is now at the top of your stabilizer instead of the bottom. This is very good for either very high angles or very low angles. Using the handles just gives you some extra functionality and stability, and this is where the remote controller, the wired remote controller, will come in. Okay, so make sure your stabilizer is powered off. And we're going to take off the tripod stand this time. Just unscrew it from the bottom. You won't need this at the moment. Put your handle down to the side. And now we're just simply going to screw the handlebar with the central attachment onto the main handle. And it's personal preference where you want to put your handles. I like to slide it to the top of the main handle, just underneath the joystick, and now you just screw that tight in place. Make sure that the handles are in line with your power button and your joystick, so they're at right angles. In other words, they're facing out to the sides. Your power button and your thumb mounted joystick will still be pointing back, and the silver button will still be pointing out to the front. So just tighten the side plastic screw until your central attachment is locked onto your main handle. And first of all, you would attach your wired remote controller to the small attachments here. This is just in order to screw your remote control to your handlebar attachment. Unscrew one of the screws here at the back. Now, it depends on whether you're right or left-handed as to where you position your remote controller. Because I'm dominant on my right hand, I'm going to put the remote controller to the right side on the handlebar. But you can put it on the right side or the left side, depending on where you feel comfortable. Just going to screw my remote onto the handlebar using the red screw. Screw it into place. Make sure it's nice and snug and tight. So now I have my wired remote on the handlebar. I'm going to plug that into the plug at the side here. You'll see a little black plastic cap that pops off, and there's a silver port, and that's where this goes in. Find the right position to lock it in place and just push it in, and use the extra silver screw mount to just tighten it up and lock it in place. So now that wired remote is plugged in. Now the last part is just screwing in your two handles onto each end of the handlebar. You just push a handle in and then turn the red screw until your handle is tight inside. And again, you put this, make sure that they're equidistant. That means the handles are the same distance on the end of your handlebars, just so that the balance is nice. I like to put the red screws facing back towards me so it's easy to loosen and tighten them. And then just tighten up the handle so that the other one's on the end of the handlebar. Position the remote. So now I am in what's called inverted mode. This means that the main handle that used to be underneath is now facing upwards, and I have my handles and my handlebar. Now if I switch my stabilizer on, you'll see that it does exactly the same as it did before, except now it's in inverted mode. So now you see it's the default mode as it was before, which means it's maintaining a straight and level in the pitch and the roll axis, but it is following in the yaw, which means when I turn it to the left and turn it to the right, it's attempting to follow where I'm positioning. Now that I have the remote joystick in, the remote joystick will control where the camera points instead of the thumb mounted joystick on the back of the main handle. So if I use my remote joystick and I turn it to the left and to the right and up and down, it's now using the thumb joystick on the back of the wired remote. And this also controls the modes. If you remember in the last video I talked about the modes, now the wired remote controls the modes. It acts as the silver button. By doing that, you want to press the joystick in and you will hear the same as if you press the silver button in the front of the handle. So if I click it once, now it's gone back to straight and level. If I click it 3 times, for example, now it's locked in all 3 axes, just like before. So now when I pitch, yaw, and roll, it maintains a straight and level and forward position for the camera. So now instead of using the silver button on the front, you use your thumb-mounted wired remote controller joystick to control the modes. You can see how using handles with your stabilizer increases your stabilization options. Now it's very good for high angles and very good for low to the ground angles with your wired remote and with your handles. One more thing to note is the difference with our new make SMG is the rear motor now is tilted. So it's easier to see the back of your camera, easier to see a screen, for example. If you have the screen on the back of your camera, you're not obstructed anymore by the rear motor. Now you can see straight through the screen if you need to do a point and shoot with the screen from your camera. So this is another improvement we have over the older SMG Extreme. So this is setting up your handles and inverted mode. Hope that helps you, and good luck using your new SMG. I look forward to seeing what you can do with it.